we're planning to do tonight is we are going to make some little bee macaroons, and I've made a special colored clay, and I made this without using a mold, so it kind of looks like a macaroon or macaron, however you say that. There's a debate about macaroon or macaron. I think it's a macaron. But anyway, we are going to mix up some clay to get to this color, and then we're going to try to embellish this little fella up. So we'll get started here. First thing we want to do is that I'm going to get my scale out. I'm going to turn my camera down as well. Hi, everyone. Thanks for coming on. I see Eileen. Yes, macaron, not rune, Ron. And Kim, Betsy, Barb, thanks all for coming on tonight. I appreciate it. And so let me just tip my camera down so you can see my camera or my tabletop here more, like that. And let's we're gonna mix up some clay. So what I have my recipe because I'm following Betsy's, how she does her things is that she writes everything down. When she comes up with a color combination, she makes a recipe. So I'm trying to do the same thing here. So I have a little scale here. And the first thing that I want to do is I'm just going to take some of the Bose foam clay, and this is that tan color. And we're gonna do, I think if I remember right, it was 0.4. So we have that. I'll set that aside. And you can see that the difference in the color is that this is what I have mixed up, and this is what the Bose clay is. It is darker. And I'm sorry, my camera, or not my camera, but my light that I use for video recording, it's being flaky. It works, but then it goes out. So it's being temperamental. So this one is right out of the package, and then this is the color that we've made. So, okay, so we have 0.4 ounces of the brown clay, and we're going to take 0.4 ounces of white clay. Now this is a clay that I purchased that I am not wild about. It's not near as dense as the Bose clay. This one is a lot more, I feel it's more watery, but I felt that since we were using two different colors of the Bose clay, that we could definitely add a little bit of clay, foam clay. It's also foam clay, but just a little extra clay that's a little more watery. And so we're doing 0.4 of this color. And you see, it comes out of the bag really stringy, so it's quite a bit different than the Bose clay. Okay. And now the final color is going to be 0.2 of the yellow. And this is the yellow clay. All right, so I'm going to take my three colors and I'm just going to mix them. And all you do is you just kind of pull it apart and mix it together. And once we get this mixed up, I'm going to take that remaining little bit of color that I mixed up the other night, and we're going to incorporate it into this. Your light is doing that too, Eileen. It's like, what the heck? I think part of it is the power adapter, where it has a USB port, and I think that might be part of it, but I'm really not sure. So, okay, so there I have it mixed up. I'm going to grab my other color here that I had from the other night that I made, and we're just going to incorporate it into here. Just like that. So I got really creative the other night, and I got so wrapped up into my crafting. It's a good thing we didn't have the camera rolling. Let's just say I had a casualty, and I ended up being on the floor. Have you ever done this? I have a chair with wheels, and I dropped something on the floor. So being lazy, it's just right underneath my feet here, I bent over, and all of a sudden, my chair just woof, rolled out from underneath me, and I'm on the floor. And it's like, as you get older, it gets harder and harder to get up off the floor. I hit my knee on the way down, and so I'm laying there. It's like, and my quarters here are pretty tight. I have a little buffet or a dresser behind me. So when the chair went, it filled up all that space, and then you have this body laying in there between it. It's like, how am I going to get out of here? But I managed. It took me a little while, but I got up and picked up my clay off the floor and finished my craft. Okay, so we have our clay mixed up here. And so what we're going to do is I just have a cookie cutter. Do I have a measuring tape here? I don't have anything that I can measure that, but it's probably close to 2.5 inches round is my guess. So we're just going to roll this out, and we're going to make our little cookies. We're going to make 2 of them. But what I'm going to do, we'll make 2 cookies, and then we'll texture the edge. Oh, we lost you, Barb, huh? So my rolling pin has these little markers, I guess you would call them, so that it only will roll out so thick, or thin, I should say. I'll have to go back and watch the other gals, their projects. I'm excited to see them. Okay, so I have my clay rolled out, but I don't have it very uniform here. Let's roll this out a little bit more. Okay, so we're just going to cut out 2 circles. my clay is sticking to my mat tonight. So let's try again. I'm not sure what's going on there. Did you, Barb? Yeah. Did you? It's my left knee as well. Mine, I just kind of scuffed it up. I don't have any bruise on it. I checked it here and no bruise or anything. So you have to watch these chairs with wheels if you're going to pick anything up off the floor. All right, there. We'll give this another try here. I'm still learning how to manipulate clay. All right, so we have our two cookie shapes cut out. We're just going to throw this in a bag so it doesn't dry out. And I just want to, this one's a little misshaped here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just taken a skewer and I just used a nipper, like a wire nipper, and I cut off the end, and so the end is a little kind of jaggedy. And I'm just going to take it and I'm just going to go on the edge I'm going to choose to be the bottom, and I'm just going to go around it, just making an indentation all the way around like that to make it look as if it is a macaron. It's hard to say. I'm used to saying macaroon. Macaron. Macaron. Yours is the right side. Oh dear. Actually, I do have kind of like a sport injury. When I was in school, I used to run hurdles. And one day at practice, we of course shared the track with the boys. And I thought I'd show them what I could do. So I take off, start running down the hurdles, I jump over one, go for number two, and oops, first time I've ever fallen, jumping over those darn hurdles. And we have a track that was just all out of these tiny little cinder rocks. And let me tell you, I had cinder rocks galore impacted into my knee. And one of my classmates helped me to the bathroom and got me all cleaned up. And I still have battle wounds. I have a hellacious scar on my knee from my track injury. But I decided I wasn't going to try to show off again in front of the boys. That was a one-time only incident. I paid the price trying to show off. Okay, so there we are. We have our second cookie all kind of made a little lip around there to make it look like the macaroon itself. Macaron, sorry. Okay, so now we need to make our filling. And of course, we're going to use clay again. And we will, this time I am going to use the Bose clay, just because I'm rolling it out and I'm going to use it as my filling. So we're just going to take a little of that. Yeah, I have stories tonight. Yeah. Oh, goodness. So for supper tonight, my husband has just started back to work. He works a seasonal job, and he actually does lawn care for a lot of our cemeteries locally. And so, he always is going around checking on them, seeing if they're ready to mow, especially this time of year, and how much cleanup there might have to be done before they can actually mow. And so that's what we did tonight. And we happened to then just stop and have a sandwich at our little drive-in, which is opened now. So, okay, so I just made another little round just out of white clay, and I'm going to sandwich them together. And I'm going to take, it doesn't matter which side this one goes, because it's going to be sandwiched between two colors. So I'm just going to center that in there and just kind of press them together. And then I'm just going to take my other half, and I'm going to sandwich that on the other side. And we have our little macaron. And we'll I'm going to let this dry before I do any additional embellishing on it. But I thought it would be really cute to make 3 of them and sell them in sets of 3. So here's one that I made Tuesday night when I had my casualty. So we have this little one here. And it did dry darker. You see that this color here, this is just a little darker. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is just a little darker. And it is smaller. You see how much it has shrunk? It's probably, it's shrunk quite a bit. So keep that in mind. So if I were to make these again, I should probably go up in size with my cookie cutter. Okay, so now this is my thought, that we would make a little honeycomb and put a little bee on top. And I'm just trying to make a decision if I should put a little dollop of spackle on top or just use all the honey, the glue stick I think we're going to use our honey glue stick, actually. And we what else might be cute is to put some little drips of honey down the side. So I have some honeycombs already made up, but let's make one here so you can see the process and how to make them. So I'm just using one of these little trivets. It's a silicone trivet that I got off of Amazon. And so it has all this honeycomb shape. So what I'm going to do is, set these aside. I am taking a hot glue gun that I've dedicated to this glue stick. This glue stick is made for auto body repair. It's to help pull dents out somehow, but it is like the perfect color to make our little honeycombs. So I'm just going to fill some shapes. If I can get it to go. Sometimes it doesn't want to go initially. We're just going to fill some of these shapes up. Like that. So there is a shape that I have just filled in, and we're going to let that cool off. And we probably won't use this particular one to embellish our cookie, but we'll just let that set aside. I have some other ones here made up. So I have some that are just like little flower shapes, and then I have some that are just a little bit larger. And I'm thinking, originally I thought these flower shapes would be kind of cute, but I'm thinking, you know, when you go to the hive and you're going to pull out a section of the honeycomb, you're not going to have these little flower shapes. So I thought we'd just take kind of a random piece, and we will I'm thinking about, I want it to kind of prop up, but I don't know that we can do that. So we might just have to, well, first off, let's make some drips on our little cookie here. So I'm just going to see how this works. Trying to be really careful not to touch it with my finger because it's still hot. So this honey, or this glue, is really, on this side over here, is really running down the side a lot. Ugh, yikes. So I'm going to set this little guy over here on my silicone mat and try to pick off the glue that's on my fingers. It's not too hot. We're okay. She would have burned herself by now. Okay, so I think we're okay. We'll let that set just a little bit while we move on. So we're gonna try to do the macaroon tonight. Macaron, sorry, I keep saying the wrong word. But I also made these little beehives that I am going to be making a cake with some beehives, or bee themed, and so I thought having a little beehive on there. But I also have these little black and white striped cups would look adorable with a little beehive up here. But I think this one might be too large. I'm not sure. If we tilt it off to the side after we get some spackle on there, I'm not sure. But I was thinking about making another one that's going to be a little bit smaller, so it would just not have this bottom tier on there, and it would just be a mini one. So we're going to try to do that. We'll make one that's a smaller, and then I will, in the meantime, I won't be able to finish our project tonight, but I will finish it over the weekend here and post it on my page so you can see the finished item. But we will make one of these little beehives together, how I've created mine. And then the other thing that I would like to do tonight is I am working on some teeny little bees that I'm going to have on a wire that are going to kind of be buzzing around as well. So that's kind of my thought. These are kind of a little, they're tiny, so they're pretty hard to make. But let's see here. Oh, our honey is dry now, or enough that we can handle. So now I just have it on the outside. So I think, where's my piece? Let's use this one. What if, oops. Oh wait, what if, well, should we just lay it down like that? And then I have this little bee that I'm going to glue to the top or to the side. Let's see. What gauge wire is this? Let's see what that says. 20 gauge. And I have it in the black. And so what do you think? I think what I'm going to do, if I lay this down, I'm going to put more honey, I think on the top, all the way around it here. And then we'll just set this on top. I think that's what we're going to do. Decisions has been made. Okay, so we fill that in. I'm just going to place my little honeycomb on top there. Oh, hey, it wants to stand. It wants to stand. Look at that. I'm happy. Look at that. Didn't think it was going to. I like that. Do you like that? Perfect. All right, so now We are going to change glue guns, and this little bee happens to be a button, so I'm just going to nip off the back side of it. Just going to nip off that little shank. And so now I am going to glue my little bee off to the side here, and I'm just going to go back to my regular glue gun that I use Gorilla Glue. And I forgot to plug it in, apparently. So we'll go with Gorilla Super Glue. See how that holds, hopefully. So there is our little macaron. I have to come up with a fun little name that we can call this. So I think if we were to sell these in little sets of 3, it would be on a little plate with a doily, you know, with a paper.